doing? It is Monday night, so it is the Physicist and Philosopher hour.
Yeah.
I am Wayne Steiger, the philosopher. My guest and host is co-host, I guess. Co-host is Dr. Claudia Albers. Hello,
Yeah.
Claudia. How are you doing?
I'm very well. Thank you, Wayne. And how are you?
Hot. I'm telling you, it's like I was telling my wife, today was Africa hot. It was 80 degrees here. And so, yeah.
It's October. It's not supposed to be that hot, is it?
No, normal high today is, I think, 60 degrees. So that's 20 degrees above average. But
wow.
Yeah, I just want to say hello to everyone in the chat room, everyone watching. Thank you, all the moderators. And hey, there's Scott. I see Scott's in here.
Oh, okay. Hello, Scott.
We're going to be, hey, Scott, do you know this person? And now I'm going to laugh. So I'm wearing my carbon-based life form shirt tonight because hello there, Brian. How you doing? Struggle within. Good to see you. So I think carbon-based life forms we're experiencing some weird stuff. That's all I've got to say. You were talking about Scott, what he had on his channel, and while you're talking, I'm going to go pull him up. And some strange stuff, right?
Oh yes, it's amazing footage from the stereo spacecraft, and it shows a huge object moving. What seems to be in a solar system, because of course the spacecraft looks inwards. Apparently the object was labeled as Jupiter, but it's so huge. And there's a whole cloud of debris with it.
Oh, really?
It's amazing.
I keep contending, so I'm having to look for Scott's channel. I can't believe it.
You can find it's on mine as well, but I've already put up 2 other videos on top of that.
Okay. When you're looking for stuff, you're going, well, where is all this? I mean, I'm trying to pull it up.
It's a live stream that we did last night.
Okay, I see that. I'll be so glad when the political season is over with in this country, because this is nuts. So where would you, I think I see it. Advancing. I see you, Scott. Okay, so this is the H1 image. Is that right, Claudia?
Yes.
Okay, so...
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. Someone sent us this. Sent Scott this the other day, and it was a whole long video. This is only a snippet from it.
Yes, I've got it.
It shows amazing.
So, Scott, you're going to love this. And Claudia, I'll have to show this later. CBS is trying to copyright me.
Copyright you? What does that mean?
They filed a copyright claim against me on my audio. You'll have to see this. This is wild stuff.
On your audio? I mean, your own voice?
My own voice.
Oh, my goodness.
The strange thing is they're saying they're hearing French. And they said that, I swear, and I'm looking at this going, well, I have truly entered into the Twilight Zone.
Oh my goodness.
So here we go. This is what we're looking at. So I'm just going to start playing. Okay. Give me 1 second here. Okay. I am being barraged, robocalled by more political candidates than...
Really?
Yeah. So, all right. So what are we seeing, Claudia? Look at this.
As you can see, that's a huge, big object seemingly moving towards the sun. Now, they labeled this object as Jupiter, and on the SETI images that we usually get, it was shown as a tiny spot because, of course, remember, Jupiter is 5.2 AU from the Earth. stereo is on the same orbit as the Earth. So that would mean that Jupiter would have to be on the other side of the solar system. It would have to be at least 7.2 AU away, basically, something like 7 AU. So Jupiter is large, but it's not that large to look this large in these images. And don't forget, in the Secchi images, the sun is actually very small. It's actually smaller than it is in the core 2 images, where you can actually see that little ring that shows us the size of the sun. So the sun is tiny in these images. Okay, this is a close-up.
Look at the freaking debris field behind
Yeah,
it.
exactly. Look at that debris traveling with it. It's definitely not moving on its own.
What is on the at the southern pole of that object? I know, Scott, I can't see the chat room, but
yeah, it looks like there are more. There's a whole system traveling together, and that I always suspected that these objects are not alone. They travel in groups, in systems, because they attach themselves to each other. They absorb energy from each other, just like they absorb from the sun. So look at that.
When it gets into the corona, look at what's at the bottom of this thing.
Mm-hmm.
I have a 36-inch monitor that I'm looking.
Yeah,
look at,
so
there
you
it
can
is,
see it
right
even
there,
better.
right
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, there's something
Yeah, there is something. Look at that. There it is.
there. Yeah.
Wow. Look how the sun reacts to that.
Mm-hmm. And there's some kind of field around it.
Yeah, right here. Boy, right.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. Look at that. Look at this.
Yeah, look at that, all that material.
The definition of this object is, look how it's reacting to the sun's corona.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what I'm seeing here?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It's absolutely amazing.
Wow.
We've never had observational evidence like this before. I mean, I suspected this was what was happening because they shared a lot of material, and I expected there to be
Wow,
look how much debris there is. It's just full.
Are we looking at a brown dwarf here, Claudia?
Yeah, well, basically, that's what these objects are. They're dead stars. This is a dead star. But it's not so dead that it's not powerful. I mean, it's still powerful. It still has a strong magnetic field. They don't lose their magnetic fields that much. They may lose a little bit. What they lose is the ability to emit light until they start absorbing energy from the sun. They lose the ability to emit light first. Then they lose their gravitational influence. That means they lose their gravitational field, basically. And so they share their layers of material until the core of the star itself is exposed. So this must have been a huge star, absolutely huge. Some of them, as you
These two
know,
moons, or whatever they are down here, you can see they have a separate orbit of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They're either orbiting each other, or look at, you can actually see one produce a Birkeland current. Look at, here's the other one.
Yes.
Look at that.
Yeah, so we're not seeing just one object coming in towards the sun. It's several of them traveling together. And I've always noticed that even when they cover up the images, they cut off the images, they sometimes cut off different portions at the same time, meaning that there has to be more than one object there that they are covering. So that meant to me that they travel in groups, 2, 3, or 4 at least.
Look at this.
But this is huge.
Look at the debris field. That's what I wanted to catch.
Yeah, right if this object is at the same distance as the sun, this object is larger than the sun, because the sun is very small in the stereo images, in the HI1 images. Very small. I think I've drawn it. I put it together with core 2 images, the jets, to show how small the sun really is in HI images.
This is Remarkable.
So this object would be, I think, larger than
There's
the sun,
one here,
but I don't
one
know
here,
if it
one
is
here.
at the same distance as the sun. It could be passing by the camera, but definitely it I think would be several times larger than Jupiter.
You have to excuse me, Claudia. I'm intrigued.
You are very intrigued. It is amazing footage, absolutely amazing. When I first saw it, I thought, wow, I've never
Look at this
seen
debris
anything
field.
like
This
this.
is what I'm trying to catch right here. I'm sure
The
you've got
debris
some.
behind it, the
Yeah.
debris field.
There it is.
Yes.
Look at that.
Mm.
This is remarkable footage. Look at that. Look at that. It's a. I got to go back on that. Folks, you're just going to have to put up with me because
You're fascinated.
yeah, this is very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting such accurate. I just want to catch that debris field that just so beautifully picks up on this image. This is quite remarkable, Claudia. So what's your analysis of this? What are we?
Well, we are looking at a stellar core, one of the dead stars that are part of the Planet X system. This is evidence beyond
Could this be Planet X?
Well, it's one of them. You know that I call the system Planet X. I would say that there are some 10,000 to 20,000 dead star systems in it.
Folks, right here, to pay attention to this area right here. I'm going to try to freeze frame it as it comes in, but there's your debris field.
Yeah. I mean, not all of them have come to the sun. I'm sure there are a lot more that will still come, but the extent of the Planet X system is that it's 20,000 times larger than the solar system. And it's made out of just dead stars, dead star systems. So
could this be Nemesis then?
Well, I don't think so, because it behaves like a stellar core. The debris tells us that it's a stellar core. And if it was Nemesis, then if it's still a living star, and assuming Nemesis is, unless it's turned into a stellar core as well, coming towards the sun at this distance would have destroyed the solar system. I don't think if Nemesis is still a viable star, it would never come into the solar system, because that would destroy it. Yeah, we wouldn't be here talking about it. Let's put it.
Yeah, our star would probably just become so.
No, I mean, it may not even have destroyed our star, but it would have disrupted all the planet's orbits.
Look at this right here. So several things catches my eye. I mean, we can see the orbit of this object. There's another one right here, but there's obviously one right. Well, this is quite remarkable, Claudia. Mm-hmm. Look at that. There's the other object.
Yeah.
This is.
There are several.
I just can't make the scale. I don't know what the scale grade is.
Yeah, at the scale, I think it's about light itself. It's measuring light.
Yeah, so it's 10 to the minus 14th power.
Yeah, and
in radiance.
It's feature excess radiance. So it's difference in light.
Yeah.
Difference in light. Obviously, it's visible light, because HI1A detector is a visible light detector.
Look at this.
So, yeah.
Wow. Well, there's worth the price of admission right there. I mean, this is.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And this came into our solar system on the 2013. Is that what I'm reading?
Yeah, that's the timestamp on this. Yes, 2013.
And this, look at the debris field.
Yeah,
that's
amazing.
Wow.
Absolutely. Yeah. And this is how it was then. Can you imagine what it will be like now? Because the more of these objects come in, they all bring their own debris field with them. Because
could this one be in an orbit right now?
It could be in orbit around the sun.
Look at that, folks. This is what we're talking about. All right, so there seems to be a gravitational field or pull from this object for all this to be traveling behind it? Is that what we're basically seeing? Look at that.
Mm-hmm. Well, what happens is they shed the outer layers of material. So you can imagine a star has a core that's 20% the size of the whole star. When it dies, it sheds that outer material because its gravitational influence over its own material declines. So it sheds it. It just breaks open, breaks apart, but that material just hangs around. So when the object moves towards the sun, then that debris field probably goes with it. That's why there's so much debris in the inner solar system. That's why the interstellar cloud is so full of dust, and this dust is intruding into our solar system because there is so much dust and debris around these objects. When they die, they break apart. Remember in that image that you showed me of our galaxy, how I showed that the galactic nucleus had broken into pieces. This is what happens in the whole of the universe. Whole things break apart. As they die, they break. And they shed layers, they fissure. So this is what we're seeing. We see this all over the universe. This is, I said, is a dead star.
This is amazing. You know, back in my video post-production days, this is remarkable. So they've laid the grid, folks, as you can see, over the object itself. And this is what I'm catching. There is so much going on here.
Yeah.
Because of the visible light, we're restricted in what we're seeing, but this is big.
We've never had observational evidence like this. This is like watching a real video. We're seeing three-dimensional features that we've never been able to see here in the SETI images. We've never been able to see anything like this before.
They knew it was coming, Claudia. And this satellite.
Of course they knew it was coming. I think, Wayne, they knew from the 1960s what was going on, what was coming in.
Well, I can tell you a true story. And I happen to know this from the very person that was actually present for this meeting. Ronald Reagan was informed in 1986 that this was coming in, and it was because of him and the necessary steps. But this is remarkable footage, Claudia. This is very remarkable footage. Look at that freaking debris field. And I don't even know what the scale is, Scott.
Well, I think we can just use the scale to measure positions.
Yeah, I think that you're absolutely right. Look at that. Look at it. It is just enormous behind it.
I know. You can imagine that a star will lose 80% of its layers of material before its core is exposed. So you can imagine how much debris there is around these objects.
Whoa. I knew it. I know, Scott, you probably caught this as well, but there it is. Watch this. The thing I just don't know, Claudia, on this one here, I don't know the spatial orientation, like you said. I don't know if we're seeing something far behind the sun. Are we seeing something that's coming in close? But I
think it actually goes goes past the detector, the spacecraft. That's what it looks like to me. It goes diagonally across. It cuts in front of the detector. So it comes quite close to the detector. So that means it's crossing the Earth's orbit as it moves in towards the sun.
Claudia, wow. I mean, I am an expert and I don't talk about it, but I'm telling you what we're looking at here. This is mass.
Of course it is. That
Well,
this
I
is
know. Well, you and I both know, and Scott knows as well, for years, anyone that brought out evidence such as this is, oh, look at this. There it is. Right here. There is
Mhm.
a,
Yeah, there's another one
yeah,
there.
right there.
Mm-hmm.
There it is, right? That's
Yeah,
what I
there
was
we
wanting
are.
to catch.
You got it.
Look at this.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're definitely traveling together.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They part of a system.
I don't
So
know if that's Mama Bear and this is the cub, but
yeah.
it's definitely running protection. Look at that, Claudia.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that picture right there is worth,
Oh yes.
yeah, I
It's
mean,
a treasure.
it is. Wow. Well, I know we got other things. This is wow.
It
Wow.
is amazing.
Just and look how the sun is reacting to it.
Mm-hmm.
What gets me, Claudia, it's like it's almost absorbing.
Yeah, the sun always acts as if it's tries to push it away with its own jets and
Mm-hmm.
ejections in the
Yeah.
beginning. Then as these objects approach, sometimes it reacts the other way. It explodes in the other direction, or sometimes it just goes dark in that region where this object approach, because as it touches the sun's corona, it starts absorbing electrons from the sun's corona. So that will shut down the electric potential. But there's definitely, you can see that there is a force, a reaction, an
Oh, yeah, look at
interaction
this.
between the two.
I mean, here it's coming full blown, and you can see how when it passes the envelope that it goes unabated up here.
Yeah, and that's how you know as well that these are stars. These are objects with internal cores, ability to generate energy, even though they are dead. But these are real objects. They have positively charged cores. Well, all planets do. But because they're so huge, probably larger than the sun, you get a huge reaction from the sun. It definitely can detect the presence of this object. There is an interaction.
It's also rotating.
Oh, yes. But then all objects rotate.
Look at that. Look at this is remarkable. Can Scott, can you send me the file on this? Claudia, I'd love just to.
I'll ask him.
Yeah, this is just look at this. Look at this.
Mm-hmm.
There was this is what you almost see in the effects of Star Trek Voyager. As Voyager is going through the corona of a star, this is exactly the wake that you would expect it to do with the field being generated in front of it, because it's obviously going to be picking up much more particles, right, from the sun.
Yeah.
Claudia, this is just
Well, if
absolutely.
this was a ship, you would need a big ship.
No, I was just saying the effect.
Yeah,
the effect behind the star.
Well,
look at that.
Voyager would, of course, be an advanced ship with great ability to shield itself. So that's the only way to be able to go through the sun's corona.
Wow.
But then you would have a bow shock effect in front of it.
Yeah, and that's what I think we were saying. That, Claudia, that is just I'll send it to you. Thank you, Claudia. I mean, Scott. Okay. That is rather, well, what I was measuring was that in the frames, and I'd have to do it even slower, but you can actually see this object is rotating.
Yeah.
And wow.
Yeah.
Well, there you go, folks. Well, you can just say right now that we just had a whole show right in that. That is just remarkable. Like,
I mean, we had a live stream yesterday about this, basically.
Wow. So we have some pictures, Claudia, sent in by viewers that they wanted you to see. And so by our viewers' request. These are all sent in. Some are, okay, there's a story right here. Fred wanted me to tell you this story. So what you see are footprints that are burnt into this lawn. The story, and Fred, tell me if I got this right. He's walking his dog out at 4:30 in the morning. He observes a UFO over the tree line. There was, I don't know if there was a light or a flash, but any case, this yard was immaculate. It was not this. And something happened between him and this object. And as you can see, his footprints are burnt right into the grass.
Goodness, how is that possible?
I don't know.
That is so strange.
Look at that. You can see it exactly, and you can actually see, I think, the dog's print as well.
Wow.
So,
well, there must have been some kind of energy on him.
I think there was some energy on him. Look at this one, Claudia.
Oh, that looks very... Oh my goodness.
Exactly.
That does not look right.
It doesn't look right, does it?
No.
You look at this and you're going, now wait a minute.
The blue sky is like there's blue sky there, but we don't see the line. Oh yes, I know what this is. This is actually a reflection on the cloud. I've seen this before. In fact, I have an image in some of my latest articles that I show this. This actually indicates that the sun is not shining from above the clouds, that the light source is below the clouds. And so light is being reflected off the clouds, not shining through the clouds. That's what it shows, because otherwise that gap there in the clouds should be brighter than the clouds, but it's not. At first,
I thought there was like this huge planet that was looking there obfuscating.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think that's actually a reflection from below onto the clouds.
Interesting. Now that is a good thought.
I've seen that. You will see it if you've seen some of my articles on what's happening in the skies and the sun. Oh, look at that. That looks like a stellar core in the clouds. And that I could well believe. I've seen lots of evidence of that.
Yep.
Namely the gravitational vortices which they create.
I think you might be right.
Or it could be a ship. Oh my goodness, that looks like another one.
I know it. They're everywhere.
Oh my goodness. They are everywhere. You're right.
Yep. This came from a viewer in Brazil. He said to tell you hello. He speaks Portuguese, excuse me. And he took this, I think, last week. And it's very interesting when you see what he was photographing.
Look at that.
It is, yeah, very strange. I found this rectangle. It looks like a
luminescent cloud to me, but it's a very strange shape. So I'm not sure exactly what that is. It could be device related because of all those straight lines. But
look at this object here. We have a rectangle, and then as you magnify closer in on this, you actually have this rectangle on top of this one. Something is being... We're seeing multiple light sources here is what I'm saying to you, Claudia. Look at that. You can see the outline here, the dark one, but look here. You can see the outline now of the white one sitting on top of that.
That's amazing. It definitely artificial structures.
This is in Brazil, on the coast, by the way. So here's another one of this, and you can see how far this whole effect is going.
And there's a sort of a round effect there. It looks circular there. That could be just the dark one
here,
just beyond that.
Yes.
Yeah, there's one there and another one more to the left. Look at
So
that.
look at that.
That one. That's right.
Yeah.
So, the evidence is that these objects are coming into our atmosphere, at least the smaller ones, and are creating these gravitational effects.
This is what I found interesting here.
So the fact that we're starting to get evidence of that is good. It's very interesting.
Now, he said that this river, the ocean is on the other side over here, I think over here. And now you can begin to see the whole effect that they're getting. They're experiencing what he called tidal drains. The water is just emptying out.
Oh yes, that's ocean recession. That's to do with the minimum in the gravitational wave that these objects create. It actually increases the density of the water. That's why the level starts going down. And I think I wrote an article about that some time ago, about what happens when these objects move over you. What happens? You can actually feel a difference in your buoyancy if you are in water.
Interesting.
Yeah, you can actually feel it with your own body.
Now, he explained in his letter, so this is the ocean. What we're looking at is the opposite direction of this. So while this is going on behind him, this is what they're looking out to, I think, to the east. You can see the light refractions it is like he said, the sun is on the other side.
Yeah, this usually occurs because what we have is a stellar core close to the Earth. It's emitting this light, but it's interspersed with the emission of light from the simulation system, which emits blue light. That's why there's this breakup. You only see it sometimes below a certain altitude, because above that altitude, we have a holographic projection of the sky and it's blue. And sometimes you get these variations where below a certain altitude you see something, above that you see something else. And these interfaces, straight line interfaces between the different light emissions too.
Well, and this is a picture he wanted to send to show here's the river and then here's the ocean. He did a really good job of documenting.
Yeah, look at that. Wow.
Yeah, I don't know how clouds do that.
No, I don't think they can.
Do that. It's like, okay.
I don't think they can. I think that is very strange.
How about this one?
Oh my goodness.
Do you see something staring back at you?
Look at that circle. It looks like an eye, yes.
But more importantly, how does a freaking circle come out? There's the sun right over to the right.
Yeah, well, that's definitely nothing to do with the sun. It's either an object in there or it's artificial.
I say it's a cloaked vehicle.
It could be cloaked vehicle, but usually they cloak it better than that way.
That doesn't happen naturally in nature, does it? Or is it ET saying, hello?
I know. It could be that there's a stellar core there, but it looks like more like a hole than anything else.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And just smile, everyone. Wave to ET. He's looking at you.
Oh my goodness! Look at that. That looks like a cloaked object because the blue
is.
It looks like it's in front of a background. Do you see that? It's darker, but yet it seems to be closer to us. That is so strange.
It's weird. There's some. Now, tell me what's going on here.
Well, it looks like there's an object emitting red light. It even seems to be striped in the background.
Yeah.
We then have this yellow coloring here that may be luminescent clouds that are emitting light. That looks like another object on the right-hand side, it looks like a cloud, possibly an object inside there. It's also emitting orange light. So that's luminescent cloud as well. So that means there's stellar core matter inside. It's absorbing energy. The energy absorption process leads to light emission. That looks like a striped object. So this is one of these objects there in the background, emitting orange light. These clouds here are emitting this very bright yellow light, which we sometimes see in the sky. So I think that would be either an object in there or stellar core matter, large amounts of it inside this cloud emitting this light. And then there's this very bright portion there.
Yeah.
Looks like luminescent cloud as well. It obviously, when we see clouds emitting light, that's not normal. Normal clouds don't emit light.
They shouldn't. So this one was really a strange
core matter, stellar cores. We seeing unbelievable evidence of stellar core activity in this image. Let's put it that way.
This was from Brazil.
Oh yes. Well, that does not look normal either, and that looks like it may be luminescent clouds as well.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely emitting all those colors, and they are sort of mixed. So that may be stellar core matter coming into our atmosphere, starting to absorb energy.
They said it was just a clear day, and then this.
Oh yeah, well, that looks like the simulation system went a little bit strange, and we managed to see two images at the same time. It's not supposed to.
I thought at first that what we were seeing was a potential, what we would call a double refraction. But
yeah, but look at them. They're exactly the same.
As you see.
So these are two simulations that just went wrong, that we're not supposed to see two of them. We're only supposed to see one.
Here's one.
Yeah. Okay, so on the right, it looks like possibly a sun simulator image. On the left, it's possibly one of these objects in the sky.
I think so. These are more pictures of the same effect, and these are in different parts of the world where people are
luminescent clouds.
Yeah, these weird, streaky.
And that's more of them. Some of these clouds are actually blue, and we're seeing some of that there.
Yep.
They emit blue light.
This is a strange one here.
Oh, yes, that's very strange as well.
Look at this.
Yeah, it looks like there is a huge object in the sky that's somehow being hidden, but
it's strange. They said it was very strange as well. I think
because our sky, we're not seeing real skies most of the time. We are looking at holographic projections covering up all kinds of things, but holographic projections don't cover things up completely. They superimposed on them.
So I really found this one odd. Now, I know that there can be refractions to the camera. I get that apparatus, but I was looking at the truck here. And usually you would see a kind of the glare. Everyone sees it on your car. You know what it looks like. That one was a little different. Oh, wait a minute. Give me 1 second. Oh, I think that's because that's all there is.
Oh, okay.
So,
that actually, was very interesting.
I thought it was too. I thought that they did just, people are seeing stuff. Okay. And
I think it helps that they're starting to understand what they are seeing. If they watch maybe this program and I explain things to people, they start to understand what they are seeing. Because in the beginning, you see these strange things in the sky and you just think, what is that? I don't understand it. So you move along.
I'm getting more and more in the emails, and I forward you to the ones that they have them that are showing that people are seeing two sunsets. I'm getting emails from it all the time. Now, I teach a lot on philosophy, but people are seeing it, and they're sending the pictures that are suggesting that something is going on, Claudia.
It definitely is, and I think it's getting worse. And I think it's getting worse because we are having more and more stellar cores approaching our planet. And so the colors and the luminescent clouds are increasing all the time. We're getting more and more of it.
Now, I have some more to share with you, so keep on. I think you're going to really love these. I got this young lady's permission. She took these today, I think, or yesterday. Now, this is very odd, what you're about to see. This one, as you can see, the halo effect is interrupted. Here's supposedly the sun, and look at what she caught next.
That's very strange.
Very odd, because...
Very odd. Yeah, that looks like a refractive effect.
Doesn't it, though?
Yeah, I mean, but a real refractive effect in the sky itself.
And
that's very strange. And also the color of the sky. If you look at the sky on one side, it's one blue color on one side and another blue color on the other. I've noticed that a lot. And that shows that the blue in our sky is not natural. It's not natural blue. It's produced, I believe it's produced through the simulation system. They're actually simulating the blue sky, and they're just not getting it right.
I don't think they are too. You know, and I know what sundogs are, so people don't be writing. We know what they are, but it's just the continued obfuscations that we're seeing. Now, this is the one I want you to take notice of. So, Claudia, let me get up in here and let's get this, because what she caught here is remarkable. So take a look at what is the sun. Now I'm going to pull back out, and this is what is supposed to be the sun. I can actually get it even more blown up. Here it is right there. That's supposedly the sun. Watch what she catches next.
Claudia.
Yes.
Tell Wayne to check his email. I sent him 2 pictures.
Oh, thank you. I heard that.
Yeah. You heard that.
I heard that.
Okay.
Okay,
good.
now check this out. I don't know what happened here, because this can't be the sun, but this is what looks to be a malfunction, is the best that I can tell you.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think it is a malfunction. And that's how we start to see that it's not natural what we are seeing. It has to be some kind of projection in our skies. There is so much evidence now that we are seeing the product of a holographic projection system.
So we caught something here. This is the most unusual that I have seen. And then you pull back, you can see what she captured. I don't know if this is the sun. I don't know what this is. And when I pulled up on it, you get really close. There it is.
Look at that. And it looks spherical. Definitely.
It is. That's it.
So
yeah, I'm sorry.
You see, so like I said, I've been thinking these objects are in our atmosphere. I never thought I'd actually see evidence of them because they're usually enveloped in cloud. But we're actually seeing that now.
So look at what it's picking up. The iris is just picking up on, the apparatus and the back. This is weird. And
it is very strange.
I told her, I said, you really caught something, and she could see it.
Look at that.
Now you see it.
Oh my goodness. It looks like a real spherical object there. The sun itself is a projection.
Yeah.
It's an image produced by the system to try and hide it, to try and hide what's going on in our skies, really. And but
is that just the
these
most bizarre
photographs
thing?
are amazing.
I mean, wow. I mean, she caught something, and she said that it looked weird to her as well.
Yeah, oh yes, it's quite a catch.
It's the observation of the observer, isn't it?
Yes.
It is. I mean, we've got some excellent
Yes.
observers out there. I mean, it just, wow. So I am assuming, Scott, I'm going to see over here. Here we go. So, folks, Scott Sion just sent us some photographs. And, okay. I see what. It's like a guy reading the book next to you on the plane, and you can almost know what the story is by his reaction.
Mm-hmm.
So let me share this of what Scott just sent to us. So there you go. This is from 2013. This is what Scott just sent.
Yeah.
I mean, so I can't help but think, Claudia, so that object that we clearly caught going through our solar system, this is our sun in 2013. Now look at it in 2000. It looks like it's been dating a vampire.
Yeah.
Dear sun, you're looking a little pinky these days.
Yeah, and you can see that these objects basically are removing the sun's corona.
Yeah.
And what is the sun's corona? It's the sun's negative layer. That's where most electrons will be. It's the equivalent of our ionosphere. So basically, they were stealing the sun's corona. And according to these images, in those years, the sun lost almost all of it.
Look at this. So
now, of course, they will do the same thing to our planet. Basically, they will make holes in our ionosphere and take away our atmosphere.
Look at that. I mean, this is what gets me about people who can't. I don't know if it's just that they can't accept.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite clear what is going on.
Yeah.
And I've reached the conclusion that these SDO images are designed to tell us something. They are disclosure.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, they are telling us the truth, but the truth is for those who have the fortitude, the eyes, and the understanding to see it.
Yeah.
So there is no reason why they would show us these images if they didn't mean us to understand that they are disclosing what is actually going on or what has happened already. That's definitely a possibility. I think they are meant to tell us the truth.
I think you're right. I think you are right, Claudia. And I'll tell you, I think of your story all the time. I know you did a paper on another scientist that has felt the wrath as you have, but what you went through and what you sacrificed because of the fact that you felt that the truth was being hidden, you brought a practical side to science into an equation that, let's all be honest, it was a bunch of amateurs on YouTube trying to figure out what was going on. There was no scientist in the community. There was no one with credentials. And it was just a very, I look back on those days, Claudia, as though I think it was I say it was a government attempt to dissuade people such as yourself from coming at this from a disciplined science mind.
Yeah, you see, the thing is that this disclosure is not for the whole population of the planet. That's what the conclusion I came to. The disclosure is for the few. In other words, they're giving everybody an opportunity to understand it. But they've put all kinds of things in place to stop the whole of the population from understanding, including the troll organizations, the educational system, the way people are taught through television, movies, and the media. Those are the barriers, including the trolls.
Yeah.
But they are still telling people the truth. They are giving people the opportunity to know the truth. And but they don't want everybody to know the truth. I'd like everybody to know the truth. I tell the truth, and try to explain it so that everybody can understand. But I do realize that there are people that just are not in a place where they want to understand.
No,
Let's put
no,
it that way.
no, I absolutely agree with
Yeah. And you know what? The message to the trolls is this, is that they have been had
you.
because
Yes. Thank you. They got egg.
they are working to stop something which they've decided to disclose anyway.
So you wrote about a fellow educator that suffered rebuttal from the very community that she was supposed to be a family of.
That's right. And it was not because of anything wrong with her research, because the way these conferences work is you usually submit an abstract, it's accepted. But in her case, she was an invited speaker. You know, they only invite people who are leaders in the field, whose research is impeccable. So she was invited to give a plenary session. That tells you all about her research. It is top research, accepted research. But some organization, some group of people don't like her conclusions from her research. And so they complained to the conference. So they withdrew the invitation. That is not done. You do not do that. That is totally wrong. You do not invite a plenary speaker, and therefore, by inviting a plenary speaker, you say, we are honoring you. We know your research is good. We want to hear about it. And then you remove the invitation. That is just not done, Wayne. That is below the belt, way, way below.
There is a certain protocol, correct?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and it was clear that they did this because a group of people complained about the research. Now, the research is not about whether the conclusions are popular with the world or not. It's to do with the way the research is done. It's to do how she did her research. She did it properly, with the proper rigor, with the proper methods. No one should argue with her conclusions.
Particularly on a personal bias.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Plus, her research is accepted already. It is published, obviously. So anyway, but this is what's been going on through the peer review system, where they look at your conclusions. They look even at the way you put your conclusions, how you the language you use to describe your conclusions. And then they even look at what research you propose to do in the future, because that's all part of your conclusions. And if the peers don't like the conclusion because it's taking research away in a direction that you don't like, your paper's not accepted. This is usually done through the peer review system. Now, though, they are doing it through popular opinion.
Of course they are. Why not?
This is ridiculous. It's censorship. It's horrible, unethical censorship.
And her research was predicated on the fact that there were certain ethnic groups that had different IQ levels.
That's right. I mean, it's all over the internet. There is this bell curve, which is different for different races. And the thing is, people who value themselves according to IQ, there's already something wrong with that. Yes. Because there's so much more to a human being, and I describe here, than IQ level. Yeah. It means that people are absorbing this idea that they may have less value because of their high IQ or low IQ. The thing is, how you value yourself as a human being should not be based on that. Any person will have different gifts, which the IQ score doesn't necessarily tell you about.
It's like trying to compare yourself, a man who is 5'9", that has all the attributes, maybe even more intelligent, to a guy that's 6'5". And the guy at 6'5" would look down at the guy that's 5'9" only because of stature. And that's how I look at it when people try to identify themselves by their sexuality. And I say, why are you limiting yourself? IQ is this merely a quotient that a group of people came up with. It's like you said, it really doesn't establish anything.
No, and the thing is, you actually can practice and study and improve your IQ score.
I tell people,
it tells you everything. It's nothing to do with your inherent abilities.
People say, well, you're really smart. And I go, that's because I read.
The best way to train your mind is to use it.
Oh, well, there's something that this day and age. I wanted to get into this next one because I deal with this quite often, Claudia, with people that want to challenge your theories. And it's frustrating when I'm talking to intelligent men and women that you must understand. Well, they don't understand theory. So, Professor, I'm going to allow you to take the floor on this one.
Okay.
You wrote the paper, and I think it's so apropos. So, Madam, you have the floor.
Right. So most people talk in terms of a theory needs to be proven. That's absolutely opposite to the way it is. A theory is never proven. A theory should be built on observation, and a theory stands as long as observational evidence shows that that's a good explanation. Basically, theory is an explanation for observation. Observation cannot be argued with, though. If you see something a light go on, you've just observed a light go on. If you observe a light go off, you just observed a light go off. You don't say, oh, I didn't see a light go off because it's impossible for a light to go off. No, because that's an observation. You don't argue with observation. It's fact. It's observation. That's why I put it with the word fact, although it's not usually used that way. To tell people the difference. An observation is basically fact. You observed something. Now you ask yourself, oh, why did the light turn off? Now, the moment you ask a question, why did the light turn off? How did it turn off? What caused it to turn off? Now you're starting to build a theory because you're trying to build an explanation on why the light turned off. That's a theory. But the thing is, theory is built on observation. It takes one observation to falsify a theory.
Ooh. One. Okay, that's very good. That's very good.
It takes one observation. That's why I keep saying that the sun going dark falsified a whole lot of theories we had about the universe, including the theory of gravitational collapse, on which almost all astrophysical theory is premised on. So that means the moment we see the sun going dark, we just did away with just about every astrophysical theory we have about the universe, about stellar evolution, about cosmology, about just about everything in the universe, gone. That's why I talk about it all the time, because it changes everything. It changes the way the sun works. There's no way the sun is powered by thermonuclear reactions. There's no way the sun is even at 7,000 or 6,000 degrees Kelvin. It tells you the sun has to be at the photosphere has to be at a temperature of 750 Kelvin or less. Otherwise, the sun would never go dark.
It's very interesting, Claudia, as you were saying, because taking the light bulb as a reaction. So let's say it was you, I, and two others in the room, well, one can say, well, the energy had to be cut off. But another would say, no, I observed something moving that shut it off. The third person could say, well, no, I didn't see any of that, so I can't accept your theory as being real. You see how this goes? I think this is how it works. People get so...
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, they all saw it go dark. It could be not all of them saw the full observation. Maybe there was more involved in it. Then that will have to be decided upon. I mean, this is why physicists are actually trained to observe things, to take evidence, and to repeat the experiment. That's why experiments are repeated at least 5 times, because it often does not take one observation. But in astronomy, you cannot repeat the observation sometimes. You have to work with what you have.
True.
Okay, so you take what you have, you put it together with other facts. So we see the sun go dark once, we see the sun go dark twice. We look at all the images showing the sun going dark. Now we adding observation on top of observation, and we're putting them together. That's how it works. And if we observe the sun going dark several times, then we already should have an understanding, well, the sun definitely goes dark. I mean, it took me a while to come up with the key factor that tells me that the sun going dark, that is irrefutable, and that is the corona, which the Earth cannot cover. But I am sure that those images were placed there for a reason. That is to tell us that the sun does go dark. They meant to disclose that.
Interesting.
And they meant to, but there's a lot of barriers to stop just everybody from realizing that, including the trolling organizations.
Yeah, well, I love how they try to say that they stand on truth, but yet they can't define truth. And by whose standard is truth being synthesized through?
Yeah, the thing is, these people are obviously trained and controlled by some central control system. I figured that out, because if I change my tactics slightly, you can see that their tactics change as well. They're obviously being controlled and told what to do. But they trying to do their job. But you see, they doing a job that is against something which basically they've been had, because they decided to tell everybody the truth. And they're trying to block everybody from seeing the truth. You see?
Always a conundrum, It's like, okay. I always love it when they say, well, you didn't see that, but you're going, well, yeah, I did. Well, no, I'll tell you what you saw. Oh, really? Okay. What did I?
Yeah. So you see, the power, the advantage that I have over most people is that I've been trained to think, and I've been training people to think logically. So I have confidence in my own thinking. That's what they cannot take away from me. Because when I see something and I make a logical deduction based on that, and someone comes along and says, oh, it's a lens flare, it doesn't work with me, because I'm too confident in my own ability to think logically.
And I think that just flat pisses them off, Claudia. I mean, excuse me, that's so crass. They just can't handle it.
Yeah, I mean, there are times when I think, okay, I didn't quite do that right, but then I go and I do it again until it's right.
Yeah. And
I don't just give up because someone says, oh, that's a lens flare.
Mm-hmm. And the thing that gets me is that you have the credibility. It's it's
Yeah,
frustrating.
so you know, I use these images over and over again because I know that they show irrefutable evidence that these objects are here. And I specifically put them in my articles because I know that the trolls will try anything to deny what I am saying in my article. So I have to specifically put in the evidence that is irrefutable. And I always look for the key in each subject.
Yeah, yeah.
That I discuss about the planet X system. And this one is irrefutable. It's obviously an object traversing the sun in the sun's corona. It emits red light. You can see it entering the corona. You can see it exiting the corona. Again, this is disclosure. They had no reason whatsoever to allow us to see this. The only reason they have is because they want to disclose the truth.
And by the way, anyone who's trying to say that this is Earth or Venus or any other planet, you know, we've been through this so many times.
Yeah, I mean, I can explain it again, but as you can see, there's red light from the back of this object. That means there is corona between the object and the detector. And when you look at it on the side, you can see part of the object, the first image there, move a little. So that first image, you can see when it's entering the corona, you can see the part of it that's still black. It's even black against the background of the corona that is further back from where the object's entering the corona. Because of course, the sun is a spherical object, so the corona goes out further right at the edge, somewhere behind the object. You can see part of it is black, part of it is red, and that is because it's entering the corona. You can see that as well when it's exiting the corona. Sometimes you don't see it as well when you actually look at it this big, because the PDF files don't show it as well as the Word files.
Claudia, how big is this?
This object is, let me think, was about 3 times the size of Jupiter, something like that. But the surprising thing was it was moving way too slowly. It was moving at about 40 kilometers per second or something like that. I think I'll say it below, and that's way below the sun's escape velocity. And that immediately tells you there's something wrong with gravitational theory, because an object that traverses the sun in the sun's corona at a speed way below the sun's escape velocity is not supposed to ever leave. And it does. It just keeps on going.
Yeah, I have seen this, but I still marvel.
Yeah.
When I see this, look at that. It's huge.
It is huge. It is huge. It's definitely larger than Jupiter. It's again, it's a star. That's why I call these objects stellar cores. It's the core, what's left of a star that died.
Look at that.
Look, yeah.
It's just.
Look at that. It's starting to get to the edge of the corona. It's starting to exit there.
Look at this. It's just, and you know, when you take the time to study this, look at that.
And you can see it exiting there as well.
Quite spectacular. That's all I've got to say.
Yeah. So,
yes, continue. This has been
again,
quite
it's
the show.
Disclosure. They telling us the truth. They telling. It's almost like a test, you know.
Isn't it? Yeah.
How many people are really going to get it?
Yeah. How many are? Wow. I got to tell you, this is the best show tonight. I really enjoyed this one. I am quite moved by the footage Scott had.
Unbelievable. Absolutely amazing.
I'm going to look forward to doing the analysis on that. And
Mhm.
Scott's an excellent analyzer on it as well. But I think that should put all the arguments, the debates out there. You know, at some point in time, we're going to have to stop fighting amongst ourselves and say, all right, you know, I may not agree that looked like that or this looked like that, but we have to agree that things are changing, Claudia. Our planet's changing, our solar system is changing, our sun is changing.
Yeah, we should realize what's going on, and this is the reason why they're possibly disclosing it, because our planet is getting destroyed, our solar system is getting destroyed.
Yeah.
Our star is being destroyed. It's not completely gone yet. It may have stopped emitting visible light. I think it has. It possibly has for quite a few years now. It would still be most likely emitting infrared. So it should be visible in infrared light. And then it will have a whole lot of stellar cores around it that are emitting these strange colors, but not nearly as intense as the sun used to emit. So the sun should still be visible, but they I'm sure will not allow us to see it. But the same thing, whatever happened to the sun is happening to our planet. Instead of coronal holes, we get holes in our ionosphere. They take away our atmosphere. They take away our ocean. Our planet's being destroyed slowly.
Well, I often wonder.
That's what the disclosure leads to.
Yeah. I mean, the event that happened on Mars, something obliterated that planet. We know it used to have oceans. We know it looked probably much like Earth did. And when I saw that, pardon?
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. And when I saw that footage, but what really got me the most was, I don't know what that was. It was big, obviously, but the debris field behind it and the amount of other objects that were with it. And people were asking, go over and look at Planet X News. And then on Claudia's Planet X Physicist, you have the video posted up there as well, right? That Scott did last night.
I do.
Okay.
Scott
And
put it up there.
go check it out, folks. You need to just sit down and just, you know, let the impression impress you. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes the mind takes a little while to accept things that are beyond what we've been used to.
Yeah.
And some people are saying, oh, I tell people and they don't want to hear. The thing is, you have to start people at a level they can take. Sometimes if you tell somebody something and they're just not able to accept it, there's no point. You're just going to upset them. Start with something they can understand, maybe chemtrails.
Well, there's plenty of that. In fact, saw one today did a U-turn, and that was rare. You know, Claudia, I know we're going over, but when I see how much hate there is within society today, how there is such division on everything, I keep on getting this nagging feeling that this is being deliberately done as to keep the masses from looking up into the heavens.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think one of the ways that this is stopping and what they are doing is stopping is from, I mean, if there was no sun simulator and the sun goes dark, what do you think people's reaction would be? I think they would hit their knees and call out to God.
No,
they would be so scared. They would say, God, help me. And I think one of the things they're stopping is from people from doing that.
Well, at some point in time, I think that the whole system breaks. You know, we've had it. In fact, next week we'll show the footage again. When you saw from the ISS what was to be the sun and it's smoking, it's leaving a smoke trail behind it, and you're going, And it's going retro. It's going the wrong way.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's disclosure as well, Wayne. They telling us they have simulated the sun. That's what it is.
It leads to that.
Everything they tell us is, and when it's obvious like that, when it's obvious, when they take a picture of the astronauts in the space shuttle with the window open, what do you think the message is? The message is, it's fake.
I'll tell you.
They telling us it's fake. That's not a mistake. That's a message.
They're, and you know, it's the whole 5G. I was telling people, Verizon is now announcing 5G, but the way that they're doing it, woof, you know, you can't help but not think, me think if this is not so good a thing.
Yes, because I think they want to put holographic projections into real life.
Well,
that's one of the things I think they would want to do. And I realized that you can actually use any device that can project light as a holographic projector. You just put in the encoding, the digital encoding that will produce a certain image into it, and it will project that three-dimensional image, the hologram.
Yeah. I often still wonder sometimes, Claudia, if what we're really seeing, what we think is the sky, is nothing more than a grid system.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
I've seen at times that have holes in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Dr. Albers, another fascinating show.
Lovely. It was wonderful.
You know, has anyone ever told you you ought to go into that math thing? You got a knack for it? I don't know. It just seems like...
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, you know, you might want to look into that, you know?
I might, yeah.
Well, I just want to thank all the moderators. I want to thank the group that Scott's with. Help me again.
MFA. March for America.
March for
Hello,
America. Everyone. Yes, thank you, all of you folks that join us. You make our lives better for it. And thank you for everyone who's come in. We always have a great chat room. It works, and we bring knowledge, and we bring I think a balance of a perspective of philosophy, and we bring laughter. You got to laugh.
Oh yes, laughter does good like medicine.
It does. Y'all, it's for anyone who wants to buy the hoodies. I've bought two. Bought one for my wife and one for myself. In fact, I think they're going to get delivered this week. So the Physicist and Philosopher hoodies, y'all should wear them. You should buy them. Great Christmas gifts coming up for those who exchange gifts. Claudia, what do you have coming up this week on your channel?
You know, I never actually know.
I know that's why I was doing that. Because many times you write, and then when something comes out that
yeah, I've just written. I sent it to you about that aircraft that crashed.
What do you thought? What's your thoughts on that, real quick?
Yeah, because that's exactly what would happen. I mean, the aircraft was still climbing, and suddenly it crashed. And that's exactly what you would expect as these objects move through the gravitational wave that the stellar cores produce in the Earth's atmosphere. Because part of it will cause it to climb higher, and part of it will cause it to move down. That's where the gravitational force that it exerts reverses direction. That's why they are ocean recession events. That's what causes these. So that will cause the aircraft to get heavier. So the lift on it, due to its wingspan, will not be enough to hold it up, and it will most likely crash.
Yeah.
So that's a possibility there. That's why I wrote that article about that.
And I think of that. We were years ago. I was in Phoenix, and it was August, and it was hot. And We almost crashed. It was so hot that the plane couldn't get lift as it was out. And, you know, you're looking at the runway and you're seeing the little mile mark at the tail of the pilot. You have one more, stretch of runway, and you're going,
Oh my goodness.
anytime's a good time to lift this thing, please.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
actually, I can tell you, I was on a plane in Knoxville, Tennessee, where we blew a tire and actually ran off the runway. That was an experience. So,
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't recommend traveling by plane at the moment.
no, I wouldn't either. And we'll get into that next week. You see, I already got a show for next week already, Claudia.
Wow.
Well, thank you, everyone. Wow, what a night. Wow, I'm just going to tell you, I'm going to have to go back and look at this myself. Spectacular footage. It's just remarkable.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I'd like to get some of those photographs which you showed.
I'll just share with the, I have it on Google Drive, and I'll just
Thanks.
give you the access to the drive.
Yeah, because those were amazing. Some of those, I really need them for my articles.
You have free when we have permission to use them, and so we're good to go on that. In fact, all the people that send us pictures, I ask them for their permission, and so many of them write back and say, well, thank you for asking.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, it's like,
when you write an article and you use a screenshot anyway, they cannot do anything to you because I put it in an article. So.
Oh yeah. So let me just show everyone just to show you what I mean by YouTube. Look at this, Claudia, as we end out the show. So here is the thing from CBS Audio. It says here at the 43, 42, 47, it's just me talking.
Oh my goodness.
It's just me talking. Now I've turned the audio down, but that's all it is. And they're saying, CBS Audio is saying that I am somehow or another speaking in French.
Oh my
Yes, look at this.
What are you doing about this?
Well, I wrote back to YouTube and I said, are you kidding me? I said, I didn't copyright myself. And if CBS has, I'd like to know about it because my attorney will be writing them promptly. But as you can see it right here, folks, they said the copyright content found at 4237 to 4407 match play. And here it is right there.
That's unbelievable.
Isn't this weird?
It is.
Nothing is being shown or audio, no track, no nothing, just me talking. There you go, Claudia.
Oh my goodness. They copyrighted your voice.
Yes, they did. Literally. They literally did. I'm not kidding. So is that just
means they're claiming copyright on your voice. Can you believe that? That's unbelievable.
My wife looked at me and she says, all right, so who are you now? I said, honey, it's still me. I mean, the French I know, parlez-vous français, merci beaucoup, there you go. So I don't know, folks, maybe CBS Audio has completely copyrighted the French language. I don't know. Claudia, you're the best. I so do appreciate you. Thank you, Scott Sion, for allowing us to take a look at that phenomenal footage. And Claudia, thank you for just making it live.
Yeah, thank you, Wayne. It was a lovely show today.
Well, I tell you, we adore you and we thank you. Wayne's been cloned. God help us. All right, folks, you be good to yourselves. We'll see you next week right here. And in the meantime, just keep